different numbers on it, and I guess this one just works. So okay, I guess taking everything down and then restarting back up was the answer for this. But okay, so we have you. We have used this. We just got finished yesterday afternoon with the custom headers, and I think we want to go over the two different ways because that's a lot to ask somebody to do, to go through custom headers. Oh wait, I didn't do this one yet, did I? Okay, these are all good and well if we just want to get common headers, but if we want to use a custom headers, let's set a header on the request called hello. Okay. Even though we just want a single header, we need to use the header map in order to get it. That's because the typed header will only get us standard common headers. Hitting this route while sending a header will get us the following output and all that stuff. This being said, it is a good practice to nope, that's the wrong Firefox. I wanted the other Firefox. Oh, I have dark vision on here. Why are you? Okay, well that's a choice, dark vision. Dark reader, whatever. Where am I going? I am going to Axum. Okay, so I want to find the trait for header. Oh, right, because it's not an Axum trait. This is a hyper trait. Right here. Okay, so we use that. Okay, so oh right, I was adding this in. All right, a few things here. Okay, so we the header trait requires that we implement 3 functions. Soham, hello. Soham? Hello, how are you doing today? And hello from India. What time is it over there? I would imagine it's pretty late. Vampire, hello, I guess, because you can't hear me. Oh, and thank you for the subscription. I guess it's more of... thank you so much for that. 3 a.m. at night? Oh, that is very late. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully I'm not keeping you up too late. All right, so the header trait requires that we implement 3 functions. Name is, so name is the function that will okay, so that's telling us, so that's the header name. So okay, so name is name requires us to return a reference to a static header name. Zhao, hello, how are you doing? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but how are you doing today? Okay, so we have headers, and let's take a look at header name. Oh, you're not, okay, so header name isn't in here. Is it in here? Okay, hold on. So, Joel's test or Joel's test? Hello. Oh, and you're over here in Twitch now. Hello over here too. You're doing great. That's awesome to hear. I'm doing pretty good. Some fun trying to get a COVID vaccine the last couple days because it's been an adventure. But hopefully the appointment that I have for next Wednesday will actually go through. But besides that, things have been great. Okay. Now so you return this header name. You get header name from use headers. I want create headers. Oh, from here. Wait, no, this is a struct. I want where does header name come from? Where does it? Modules. I am so confused. Okay, maybe we can find it in a trait. So header, you return header name. Oh, okay. So header name comes from HTTP. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay. So name requires us to return a reference to a static header name. Because it returns a static, we can't define the header name in a function. Since that will, okay, since it returns a, not a static. Static would be fine, okay. Because it returns a reference. We can't define the header name in a function since that will be dropped when the function ends. So we can create a static, like essentially I guess like a static. We can create a static which is promised, which will survive the drop since it's defined outside of the function. Let's see. Oh yeah, don't worry about English. English is fine. I'm able to understand it well enough, at least. And welcome from Brazil. Stacking, hello. How are you doing today? Today is Friday. I'm sorry you're not making your I'm sorry I'm not making my blood boil with finding stuff in the docs today. Well, I didn't like do anything for you in the morning, so maybe this afternoon we'll find something stacking for you to discover and like sort of go like, what? Okay, so we can create a static when the job since it's defined outside the function. This name represents the header key and will be used for looking up the header in the header map. I should make a script to figure out how deep the Axum docs truly go. That would be interesting. That it would be interesting to sort of do that. Okay, so the same will be used for looking up the header in the header map. Okay, next up. Decode. So decode is the method, is the function that will be called to remove the header from the header map. It is in char, it will header map, I guess, like, and turn it into the appropriate type. In this case, the value of the header is text, so we're using a string. So it's very interesting. I'm seeing Restream Bot work like 10% of the time on Twitch and like 80% of the time on YouTube. It's like I'm seeing the Restream Bot messages from Twitch into YouTube, and I've seen it once, maybe twice now today, from YouTube to Twitch, which is not optimal. So I've just got to keep my eye on both chats. You just noticed you're watching on Twitch today. That was a mistake. Oh, well, sorry. It's like things like these are going to cause me to want to like just create my own chat, my own chat application, or something like some bot or something else like that, and like just have it work for us every time. Okay, so decode is a function that would be called to remove the header from the header map and turn it into the appropriate type. In this case, the value of the header is text, so we're using a string. Oh, something I forgot that I want to take a look at. When I get out of here, we have hello. Okay, so that's going out. So I want to get typed het. Okay, so I do get a hello here as opposed to like the contents of it. So then it's a string inside of it. Okay, got it. Jay Martinez, hello. Next time, make them pay for it and then complain. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. Hello, how are you doing today? Wait, I already said that. Maybe I am more tired than I thought. Okay, so decode is the function that will be called to remove the header from the header map and turn it, I guess it's not remove, to get the header from the header map and turn it into the appropriate type. In this case, the value of the header is text, so we're using a string. Note that this function cannot fail. Therefore, oh no, it does. Note that this function returns a headers error. Therefore, we have to convert all of the errors into it. Okay, so we got that. Finally, decode. Finally, no, encode places the header into the header map. This is useful when you want to pass a header back. So set a header for the response back to the client. Sylvie, you wanna hang out? Maybe? Okay. No, everything's fine. Okay, so encode place the header into the header map. This is useful when you want to set a header for the response back to the client. Okay, so, and I think that's it. So once we've created this, we can use it to get headers the same way that we would get any typed header. So I want to change this around and show off. So you got a typed header get. Yeah, so I want to do this one. Okay, great, perfect. All right, this was a lot. So this was all part of extracting headers, but I think we're good with this now. So we've extracted the headers in the 3 different ways. I guess technically 4 different ways. So those were H3s. Let's do another H3. So this is now responding with headers. Okay, so when we're responding to a request, we can set the we can set headers. This is very helpful in telling the client what kind of data is being sent, or otherwise any sort of like meta information about the request, about the response. Okay, so I guess the simplest way to set a header on the response is to tell Axum that we're only respond with a header. Okay, so I want to let's create another one here. So simple response, simple header response. I think I can just do header, right? We can just say that we're going to return a header. What are my choices of content type? There's like text, JSON. Am I allowed to do something like nothing? Also, you're unhappy. Oh, okay. So it can't be a trait like that. So you need to be a, so that was Axum headers header. I don't want to use that one. I don't think it's header value, but it might be a header value as in response type. Oh, it would have to be a typed header, wouldn't it be? If I do a typed header, expected function found header name. Whoa, what? That doesn't seem right. Okay, I remember that Axum showed how we can do this. Okay, we're still in Axum. Oh, but I probably want to go to responses. Might want to just stay in here. Extractor and response, that work. Okay, so if I go to typed header, oh, right. Available on crate feature headers only. What are headers? So in content, no. What are headers? Extracting headers. Okay, so we have two trays when extracting headers. We can extract one at a time. Okay, so before we begin, enabling headers in Axum. In order to work with headers in Axum, we'll need to add the headers feature. It is, yeah, okay. It is headers. So cargo add Axum headers. Okay. Okay, so back to this. The simplest way To set a header in response is to only respond with a header, with a typed header. Content, I'm not liking this. Oh, I can't go to it? Uh-oh. That's not what I want. What is a header that is better than content type? Oh, you're having trouble with this? No. You're having trouble with all of this stuff. Okay, fine. Makes sense. Okay, you compile again. You should be happy. All right, so if we just do impl, I mean, I would like to be able to say headers, but I think this somewhere around it will tell me. Okay, as extractor, as a response. Here we go. Oh, right. We do the headers first. So we return a tuple type with the header. Oh, and they tell me content type right there. Okay, so a tuple, we have a typed header. This could be a content type. Actually, this example is pretty good. We're just going to use this. The simplest way is set a header in response to only respond with a typed header. Okay. If we want a little bit more, okay, so that's a typed header. What if I want a custom header? So this, if we created our custom header using the, well, by implementing the header trait, then we are now able to use this method of response. Now, what if I don't use a typed header? What if I just want to set it directly? Can I do that? Now we're into the headers crate, which is not. I think I vaguely remembered somewhere that we can do a. So you're gonna let's at least do this, right? So we have typed header, content type, text, and then we can just say like, hello. Mismatch typed expected a tuple. Content header content type. Static stir found. Oh, sorry. Typed header content type. Found struct type header content type. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Oh, wait. Did that not close? I did the weird thing again. Okay, so it was just fine. It was just doing the thing. Okay, so we have that. Next up would be a custom header. So let's try setting that up. I realized that I didn't actually test the other one. I should probably do that. Insomnia. I remembered the name of the app this time. And I want to not show off all that stuff. How do I clear? Oh, right. I just using the local scratch pad. Yeah, okay. I forgot that we do that thing now. So let's see. We do a new request. Yeah, I think it's that port. And then this was simple header response. And we get content type text plain now. Okay, so that's good. And now the next one is going to be a custom header response. So I got a 200 okay, and now I want to see something come back from this. And I don't think I can do. I think we have to do impl into response. I'm going to do an array of tuple types. So if I do this, can I say something like hello from Axum? Yep, that works. Okay, so now here's my hello from Axum. So if I want to do that, and then I also want to return like a string, so just sort of like message. Oh, right. You have to be the same type. You need to be double tuple. Oh, because it's a, yeah. Ooh, these are going to be just a bunch of headers then. Yeah, those are just going into headers. How would I send? Can I send anything else besides a header if I use that trick? An array of tuples also gives headers. Wait, where's my... Oh no, my mouse died. Okay, cool. Well, that goes over there until later. Oh yeah, we can just return the header map as one of the items in the tuple to make it a lot simpler. And then I can just return this. Because otherwise it gets really confused. Oh, that's how it does. It's an array of tuples for headers. Oh, okay, hold on. So it would be an array. Okay, so tuple that. Then this can be message. And so now we can see, okay, message comes out here. And I can't even see the headers? Why? There's 5 headers. That seems strange. I could swear I saw them before. Why can't I see that? I mean, okay, so in timeline I can see it. Okay, I can click on cookies. I can't click on headers when it shows me that there's 5 of them. Come on, Insomnia. That's super cool. Okay, so let's send them over to that page. So okay. So there are several ways to return headers. Okay, so the simplest way to set a header is to only respond with a typed header. And so we show that way. There are more ways of returning headers documented in the response. Okay, for Axum. Now, is there any that are like notably missing? Okay, so they have custom headers like this. So I think that's going to be okay. So it has all the things for us. All right, so they're always returning headers documented in the response. There's more returning headers. There are more returning headers, which you can read more about in the response documentation for Axum. Okay, we're good to go there. So then I think I'll create that. So that's responding with headers. And then I think that's good to go because that's all we really care about for headers. All right, so conclusion. Headers are a very common tool for sending supplemental data with requests and responses that aren't that is meant they are about the data. Okay. Let's read through this. Cool. Okay, so headers in Axum. APIs often use headers to send and receive metadata about the request. Video. Okay, so we'll put that in there later. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe what headers are, extract standard headers in a route handler, extract custom headers in a route handler, respond with standard headers from a route handler, respond with custom headers from a route handler. Content. What are headers? Headers are small pieces of data sent along with a request to the server. They can range from describing what the request is. They can range from describing what the request is about to authentication information about the sender. Since they aren't part of the context of the request, they are considered metadata. Read more about headers at, okay, so we link to 3 different places. As the documentation linked above from states, headers are important because they allow us to send data about the request. This is perfect for sending information like the user authentication token to access a protected route. To help understand this, let's imagine that we have an API for a to-do application. When we're creating a new task, we want to ensure that the user is authorized to create the task. We have a couple of choices for where to put the let's do like authentication token. the authentication token. This is assuming that we have some kind of token that the front end gets after logging in. Header. Cookies are in the header. So cookie-based auth system counts as using headers. Query parameters. Query parameter. Let's do plural. Yeah, let's go to the singular. I like singular. Header. Cookies are in the header, so a cookie-based auth system counts as using the header. Maybe the header would be good. Query parameter, body, path parameter. Since the user is attempting to create a task, the body of the request should only contain information about the task to be created. Since the user token is not part of the task, it doesn't make sense to force the route handler to separate out the user token from the task. Query and path parameters are possible to use. However, some browsers do limit the number of characters that we can have in them, and it becomes a pain/possible security problem if the user shares that URL with anybody else. Passing a token in a header is the best solution here, since the route handler can extract the headers separately from the body and validate the user is authorized to create the task without needing to worry about the contents of the body. Everything listed above is encrypted with TLS, so we don't need to worry about the token being visible on the wire as long as we have HTTPS configured. Enabling headers in Axum. In order to work with headers in Axum, we'll need to add the headers feature. Cargo add Axum-F headers. Okay. Joel's test. Let me ask, from your experience, what is the new trend on the hook for the tech? What is the new trend being on the hook for the tech world? I'm not sure I fully understand. Like, are you asking like what the new thing is in tech, or is there like a specific trend that you're asking my opinion about? It's pretty broad. Exactly. So like, what's the new trend? I mean, everybody is talking about AI, with AI being more properly described as machine learning, and especially around LLMs, so large language models, something like ChatGPT. And I've actually stopped hearing quite as much talk about replacing people with these LLMs and machine learning and various other algorithms. I think that's due to a lot of people starting to realize that LLMs there's a lot of amazing things about them, but they can't do radically new things. But they're very good at replicating something that somebody else has done already. Yeah, like code generated by ChatGPT is just already existing code. And there was an article by Google. Was it Google? It might have been by Google or by someone who worked at Google at some point in time. I don't remember anymore. And I don't remember if I could find it. Let me see if I can Google for it. But the idea was the LLMs cannot invent. They cannot create anything new beyond what they've been trained with. So they can kind of sort of invent within the realm of what they've been doing. So like invention in this case would be, okay, create a route handler in Axum that takes in the following headers, creates a JSON object, returns these other headers, and this other JSON object. Like it can do that just fine, because that code that it's been trained on, it has like all the different separate parts, and they've been put together in like very close ways. So it's not really inventing something. It's just sort of putting it together in a very subtly different way, but still within the realm of what it already does. Doing something new, which is I see this and I see this, and there's no clear direct path between them, but I'm going to do them anyways because I know how, because we're very good at like sort of pattern matching and sort of figuring out how to do that. Once you're to the level where you can, any of the LLMs can't do that. So I'm thinking that this is where LLMs are going to be really, really interesting to us. I don't like the Copilot style where it's like injecting code into the into our editor for us, but I'm all for having like an explainer, like something that basically you can throw it at docs and it gives you better docs because well, let's face it, docs suck. Most of the documentation out there is not great. If I could get something that can read those and then give me a better interpretation of them and like give me some examples, that's perfect. God, I'm asking that because I'm a backend junior developer and it's been pretty hard finding a job lately. So you want to know what to go for. It's it's finding a job right now is really rough. It's not easy. I mean, okay. Let me paraphrase. It's always been hard, especially when you're junior. It feels a little bit rougher right now, especially if you're going for a tech job or like a tech company. And that's where you're going to get the most mentorship. And that's mostly because the tech industry has been hammered recently and that they've done so many layoffs that it's really hard for them to hire right now. But there's like the every other industry seems to be booming right this second. So they're hiring like crazy. The problem with that is they're small. They generally don't need that many developers. And so they're not going to have these like big teams that you can work with and get lots of mentorship. But it might be easier to get jobs with them. There's another caveat, which is most of them don't necessarily know how to hire developers. Like they don't know where to find developers. They're just, they'll ask their networks, but after that, they're just going to go online and eventually just use job boards or, just ask some random people like, in a local area. Used to work for a software house. It was pretty good. Yeah. And those places have been cleaned out recently, unfortunately. So like finding a job is always one thing. So basically like, I think the trend is to figure out a way to use LLMs to like show that you know how to like improve your skills and like improve your speed, improve something about what you do with them. And that's going to be impressive. And you don't need to do much with an LLM right now to impress somebody who's non-technical. Like don't go to a data science organization and then say, look what I did with an LLM, because they live this stuff. They know exactly what the limitations are. And they're going to just say, didn't you just use an API from, ChatGPT to do that? Like that's literally nothing. Like you didn't do anything interesting with that. But if you go to anyone else, they're going to say, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, you've just invented something new. You are an amazing developer. And that's a lot of kudo points. And because it's a new technology, most people don't know how it works yet. And it's probably going to be like another year or two until they do. So now's the time to go shop around and create a quick project or two, throw that on your resume, get a demo up and working, and shop yourself around. And LLMs are hot right now. People want to hire for it. So I would say like, if there's a wave, follow it. Like pretend you're a business and you're trying to sell yourself. You got to follow where the customers are going. And the customers in this case are the ones who will hire you to do it, to work for them. So I don't know, that was a little bit rambly. I don't know if I actually answered the question, but hopefully it was helpful. But But yeah, LMS cannot invent Google. Was it like a white paper? The problem is that I did not save it. So I need to start getting into the habit of, like, when I read something that's interesting, saving it away somewhere so that way I can just like reference it or share it on social media or do something else. But I don't want to share off like an article that I haven't had a chance to like at least take a look at. Sure, that was helpful. Awesome. That's good to hear. All right, let's continue on with this. Okay, so we add this in. Extracting headers. We have two choices when extracting headers. We can extract one at a time or get a map of all the headers and then search through them. Let's take a look at extracting a standard header, user agent. Okay, so we go through it and we do that code, which we ran that code, so we know it works. When hitting this route using curl, we can see the user agent printed out to the terminal. So there we go. We can use the typed header extractor to get one of the common headers. The limitation for this being that we can only get one at a time, and we're limited to the headers that the headers crate knows about. If we want to get multiple headers at the same time, we can use the headers extractor to get a map of all headers. We can then use this map to extract as many typed headers as we want. So then we do that, and we get like two of them out just like that. When hitting this route with curl, we can see that the user agent has a value, but the content type header is not set, and therefore a none. These are all good and well if we just want to get common headers, but what if we want to use custom headers? Let's set a header on the request called hello. Even though, okay, so let's set a header on the request called hello. Then we can use the header map to get the value. Even though we just want a single header, we need to use the header map in order to get it. That's because the typed header will only get us standard common headers. Hitting this route while setting a header will get us the following. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so hitting this route with the hello custom header will get us the following output. Okay, hello world. This being said, it's a good practice to create typed headers, and we can create them ourselves by implementing the header. Let's take a look at how we can create a typed header for the hello custom header. Okay. So then we go through that, and then I describe it all down here. This feels very complex, so let's step through it. The header trait requires that we implement 3 functions. Name requires us to return a reference to a static header name. Because it returns a reference, we can't define the header name in a function since it will be dropped when the function ends. So we can create a static which will survive the drop since it's defined outside of the function. This name represents the header key and will be used for looking up the header in the header map. Decode is the function that will be called to get the header from the header map and turn it into the appropriate type. In this case, the value of the header is text, so we're using a string. Notice that this function returns a header's error. Therefore, we have to convert all of the errors into it. Finally, encode places the header into the header map. This is useful when you want to set a header for the response back to the client. Once we've created this, we can use it to get headers the same way that we would get any typed header. I want to say like there's something else here. Oh yeah, the code like hands us a. So okay, also down here. Notice that we're extracting. Okay, notice that decode passes us an iterator of values. This most of the time we'll only have one one key value pair. However, it is possible to have multiple key value pairs using the same key. If you know that you have this this case, then you'll need to loop through all of the values and handle them appropriately. In this case, we know we can only have one, so we use the next method to get it and not worry about anything else. There you go. Notice that decode passes an iterator of values. Most of the time, we'll only have one key value pair. However, it is possible to have multiple key value pairs using the same key. If you know that you have this case, then you'll need to loop through all the values and handle them appropriately. In this case, we know we can only have one, so we use the .next method to get it and not worry about anything else in the iterator. Finally, encode places in the header into the header map. This is useful when you want to set a header for the response back to the client. Once we've created this, okay, so once we've implemented, we've finished implementing the header trait, we can use it to get the headers the same way that we would any typed header. So we just grab it that way. Responding with headers. When we're responding to a request, we can set headers. This is very helpful in telling the client what kind of data is being sent, or otherwise any meta information about the response. The simplest way to set a header on the response is to only respond with a typed header. There are more ways of returning headers, which you can read more about in the response documentation for Axum. Conclusion. Headers are a very common tool for sending supplemental data with requests and responses that aren't really part of the data, but are rather metadata. That is, they are about the data or the status of the request response itself. Okay, there we go. Let's spell check this before we forget, and then we can try to record a video on it. Do I have I spell on this? I do. Oh, I could just type in words. Oh, it's interactive. That's why. Okay. I was trying to like The other day I was trying to pass into it from standard in, and it didn't like that, but it's interactive. That makes more sense. I guess I should save this first. All right, so rough draft completed. Ooh, do I want to do all capital APIs? Maybe I do. Ooh, can I like change this here? I wish I can like go in and just like change it like I can in a normal like Word document. Where I can just say like, hey, I want that to be an authentication system, like just like use the full word. But I don't think I can. So we're gonna what's the difference between quit and exit? Quit? Oh, I don't want to throw away my changes. No. Exit? Keeps the changes. Okay. I'm telling it to remember the spelling for all these things. It's fine. It'll be fine. Xanax, hello. How are you doing today? How's your move? Okay, there we go. So you're fine. Okay, so we've got that set up. Let's head over here. Let's commit this so I have a commit for all this stuff in case I like royally screw it up. But then I'm gonna just go and delete everything, and we're going to do the video and do it all over again. Okay, so we've got that. Now we can start deleting stuff. So get ignored is gonna be fine. Cargo lock is gonna be fine. Cargo toml is fine. I do want to go in there to show off headers. But okay, we have source headers. Okay, so I want to remove source headers probably. Which means I need to update the library to get rid of you. Yeah, you're still all fine here. I want to get rid of the custom headers here. So that's going to be source routes. So like custom header, those. The many typed header. The one typed header. And the simple response header. So we just start with mod. And then you're going to be upset because I don't have any of these. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good. I have passing tests over there, so then I want to okay, so we commit that. You're all happy. Let's open up code here. So I was playing around with some extensions and I and Olama, and I figured out I figured out there's an extension that will essentially allow you to use Olama as a drop-in, not really like a 100% drop-in, but like sort of like attempt to drop-in replacement for Copilot. So you can't use it with Copilot itself. You have to use it with another extension that sort of tries to do what Copilot does, where it basically just like has like the autocomplete where it's like, hey, if you hit tab, you're gonna get all this crap. And so far, it's very, 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 very slow. It's terrible. I don't like it. It also has a chat where you can just sort of chat to the left of it and say like, hey, just like, you know, whatever code examples, you can just like drop it in, but it's not fun. Okay, so I have a bunch of things here. I think I want to get rid of a bunch of these extensions, so just in case. So let's remove, okay, I'm just gonna start deleting like most of them. So Docker's gonna be fine. Error lens is fine. Code spaces, I've not been using that. Well, it's fine to have an error. Git lens, I'm gonna get rid of that. Actually, error lens, we can get rid of that too. I didn't like sort of show everybody that I'm gonna use it. Okay, Rust Analyzer. I was playing around with Sneak. Not gonna use that. Okay, Thunder Client, keep that one. Better Toml's been deprecated. And there's so many deprecated. Oh, crates, I want to keep that one. So many extensions that I had. Actually, this is probably okay for me to show. Okay. How far have I gotten? Okay, crates, keep that one. I'm gonna just remove everything I don't need just for this recording. Oh wait, can I create new? I can create new profiles, can I? Is that like a thing now? Did I forget about that? Oh, I can create a temporary profile. Oh, that's cool. Okay. I didn't realize that I could do that. I don't want to create a temporary profile. I want to create a profile. So create a profile. We're going to call it recording. Don't copy from everything. So sure. And let's see. Okay, so we got that. Popular. Okay, so let's go in. We need Rust Analyzer. Interesting. There's a Rust extensions for Rust. Who? Oh yeah, I don't know that. I've never heard of that user. I like this one more. This is, by the way, like one of the reasons why it would be good for the logo to be protected. Because then like you could say like, hey, we want to be able to trust that if you're using the logo, you're actually from Rust. But that's an entire big chain. The first one is just a package of plugins. Yeah, that makes sense. Extensions for Rust. But I still don't trust, because like, how do you not know it's going to be like a whole bunch of extensions you don't want to? That's the only problem, is like you're installing a bunch of stuff. But okay, Rust Analyzer. That should be good for most of what we need. And then we want Thunder Client too. There's a list below with plugins that, well, so here's the problem. This is what it says, right? It could still do more, right? Or is that not how extensions work? I just sort of assume that like that's the install script, that it can still do whatever. And that's where it's like gets a little bit scary. And nobody has really solved the problem that like package managers and extensions and everything usually have an install script that they can just do whatever they want on your system at install time, which kind of sucks. Also, Hikaru bot, hello, how are you doing today? Okay, so we have Rust Analyzer. We have crates. Oh no, we don't have crates, but this might be good enough for, whoa, oh, Thunder Client. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I go with ones that are verified, because like theoretically they've been verified by Microsoft, but maybe not, maybe yes. You're doing great. Awesome. That's good to hear. We're doing pretty good here. We're about to do a recording on an Axum headers lesson. So let's make sure that everything's working the way we want it to. So first of all, am I still running the server? I am, probably. I want to stop you over there. and relaunch you here. Okay, so I'm running on port 3335, so we can then go to Thunder Client. Oh, interesting. You remember all of these despite the fact that it's a new profile. I'm not sure I'm happy about that. Can I not? Okay, I just want to delete all these. I didn't put anything scary into ENV, right? Nope. No environment set up. Okay, we're good to go. So if I do new request, we'll get 404 not found, but that's because we don't have anything. You would not be happy either. Microsoft can be scary sometime. Yeah. I mean, all the companies can be scary, but the big companies especially. All right, so we can delete you, and we'll be able to restart you off in the middle of the recording. We're good to go here. Okay, so basically we have our code. We have everything set up the way we want it to be. We are full screened with that. We have half an hour. Oh, do we think that half an hour? So initially, I was thinking, oh, headers is going to be easy. Like this is going to be like a 10-minute lesson. Then the custom headers, that makes it a lot more complex. No, not complex. It makes it complicated. It makes it more complicated. So I'm curious about how long it's really going to take. So let's see. That all being said, I think I'm ready to give this a shot. Restream bot seems to be completely broken right now anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and start the timer for Nightbot. All right, so if you've never seen me do a recording for this, oh, I need to turn off. Ooh, can't forget that. Let's turn off the alerts. Zilby's not here anyways. Desktop audio goes off. Okay, just Mike, the screen, and me. Perfect. All right, so if you've never seen this, me doing a recording for this before, I don't generally pay attention. Well, okay. I try to pay attention to chat. I don't generally respond to chat. If you have a question, comment, thought that's relevant to like to the code or the lesson as I'm going in, I'll see if I can sort of work it into the lesson. But otherwise, I'll respond to it after we're done. And as Nightbot just said over there in Twitchland, I am recording and may not interact with chat. So perfect. All right, let's see if we can do first time with this. I think okay, so install first with headers. So we got to make sure we add that in. All right, and then that, okay, so once we get that, then it's then I think we go through and we just do the gets. We do the typed one typed header map with type header map with custom header, responding with custom header, responding with simple header. Okay, got it. Oh, and what's my Firefox? I probably want to just reference these in how to respond to headers. Okay, I think we're good to go, and we're going to find out whether or not I remember how to do the custom header, because that's the one where I'm thinking may or may not successfully do it. So let's do this. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to a lesson on headers in Axum. In this lesson, we're going to go over what headers are, why we want to use them, and then how we're going to extract them from the request and respond to them too. And not just those, like common headers, and then also custom headers as well. So, well, let's go ahead and get started. Why do we care about headers? Well, headers allow us to send a little bit of custom metadata with our request. Let's go ahead and jump into Thunder Client and create a fake request to a to-do application, sort of like take a look at what how headers could potentially help us out. So let's imagine that we're sending our request to, we'll just set this up to localhost. I do have a very basic server running right now, but it's not really going to work for anything. So if I just send a message here, it just gets a 404 not found. Let's pretend this is a to-do app though. So if I want to, let's say want to create, so we're going to do a post to like task. I want to create a new task. Then I want in the body, we're going to put like information about the task, right? So that might be something like the task, like, title. And it's going to be like, pick up snacks, like buy snacks. Maybe like we have a description for that. So grocery shopping. Grocery shopping. Don't forget the snacks for the party on I don't know, like for the party on the weekend. And then we might have like some other information that we pass in here, but let's just say like that's the very basics for to do a task. But how do I know what account to add this into? Also, how do I know I even am logged in? Like our API needs to know information in order to like assign this task to somebody, which in this case hopefully is me. Well, I could, like, if I've like logged in, I have probably some kind of token that represents me that the server can then check to see like, okay, here's where they are in the database. We trust that they're them. That token was created by us maybe, and we handed it to them, and they're handing it back to say, okay, we're good to go. I could put this in here. I could say like, okay, we have like token, and then that would be just some big long thing. The problem here is that this token isn't really part of a task, and we're going to make the route handler that's job is to create a task now have to strip out the token before doing like validating it and putting it into the database. So this isn't a good place for it. Well, what about query parameters? So in query parameters, these go inside of the query here. So if I just say like maybe token and then we put all of our data in there, that's fine, and this technically would work. It separates it from the body of the task, but we have another problem. What if our users really like this app and they want to show it off? They forget that they've created something, they don't notice that their token is embedded in the URL, and they share it off. What if that token doesn't expire for a day, 2 days, a week? You've just given access to your user to somebody else, and you don't even know that. So that's a security vulnerability. So we probably shouldn't put any like token type stuff into the query parameter. There are like path params too, where you just add it in there, where it's like, okay, you just put in a token there, but it has the exact same problem that the query does, and it also makes it really confusing to look at. On top of that, we don't really like. we have like 10,000 or so characters that we can put into the URL. We probably shouldn't actually try to use up all of those. So headers is, well, where we're going to put this type of stuff. Think of headers as metadata about the request. And since authentication is telling our server, hey, this is the user who wants to do something with this request, well, that's data about the request. So it's perfect. So think of like headers as a little bit of data that goes before the body. So I can imagine like sort of like a train that's coming along. It would be a car before all of the stuff that we're sending along with it. We don't have to worry about headers being open and available to see by anybody else. All headers are encrypted if we're using HTTPS. And so for localhost development, we're not using that. We don't have to worry about it generally because it's our own system. When we've deployed this, we should be behind some kind of proxy server that's going to implement HTTPS for us. Then that will make sure that everything is encrypted, including anything that's in the headers. So we want to put something like this. Authentication. In fact, you can actually see there's several different authentication type things in here already ready for us to go. These are more standard headers. You can create your own too. Like we don't have to use one of these. We can just say, user token, and it's fine. It will just work as expected. And then you can just put in the value here and that gets sent along. So that's where we want to put in tokens. Where we want to put in the headers. And then sort of like going back to why we want to put in the headers. Well, because it allows us to send information like this about the request. And it doesn't have to be just what the like authentication type stuff. It could be anything we want. Let's say that we, dark mode got set up on something, or we want that one task to have dark mode on it. We've like enabled that as a feature. That might be something we can maybe send in like a cookie, and cookies are set in headers. So all big things that we want to do. Okay. Let's jump into the actual Rust code to talk about how we actually receive these headers. Let's not use user token. We'll play with a couple different things. First of all, this user agent is really interesting. This is one of the common headers that is sent with every single request. It's usually sent automatically, and you can overwrite it. And in this case, it's ThunderClient. If you're using like Chrome, it's going to be Chrome. If you're using Safari, I think it's Gecko, or maybe that's Firefox. I forget. Firefox is Netscape, and Safari I think is Gecko. It doesn't really matter. It's not necessarily a good idea to like try to use it to determine what exact browser your customer is using, because you can kind of just override it, and anybody can set it to be whatever they want and just sort of pretend to be another browser, so it's interesting for looking at it ways, but we're getting off the path. Let's go back to our code. Okay, so in our routes, let's create a new route here, and we're just going to do this as single. We'll just do like custom. This is going to be like simple common header. And we will mod this. And okay, so we'll do a pub, async function, simple common header. Let's go ahead and throw this in here so we don't forget about it later. So route. Simple common header. We'll just do get request because that's easier for this. And we have a simple common header, and then we don't call it. Okay, so that's adding in the route for it. Let's head back over here. Now, to extract out the user agent, which is one of the common headers, we're going to use the headers extractor. So it's just like JSON, it's just like query parameters. There's an extractor for us that just gets what we want to get, which is pretty amazing. And it works very similar to the other ones too. So we're just going to use header, which takes in a tuple. Well, so it's a tuple struct. So we just want maybe like user agent. And its type is going to be a header. And in this case, there is a HTTP headers crate that's re-exported by Axum. We can go ahead and use the headers defined in there as the type that we're expecting it. So in this case, I want user agent. All right, let's go ahead and just tracing well, I guess like we'll debug, we'll info this out and see it printed out to the console whenever we call it. So we'll do tracing info, and we'll just pass in user agent is user agent. All right, what are you upset with? Expected tuple. Oh, found. Oh, this is not the right one. It's the that was the trait header. I want. Is it headers or? Let's go to that one, and there's header. I think it's header value. I think, is it headers? No. Did I do Axum header or Axum header? No, that's the same one, isn't it? Yeah, trait header, not that. Okay, so I need to go find out which one it is. Okay, so let's go to the documentation really quickly, and let's find the header. So we're going to search in Axum for headers. And here's, okay, so we have multipart, get a map of headers as a header map. So that's interesting. Oh, you know what? I remember exactly what it is. It's typed header. Okay. It's typed header. This is the extractor that we want. Okay. Let's come back to our code. So instead of header like this, I want typed header, bring in the user agent, and this will be typed header, user agent over there. Okay, perfect. So if I save you, you're upset because it has this brackets around it, which it does not need. Okay, perfect. So let's use Thunder Client to hit this. Let's also, my server's up and running right now. We have this info going on, so we should see this printed out. If I open up a new request, let's come back to this get request, and we're going to go to simple common header. And so when we see that, here is our user agent is Thunder Client, and we see that. We can change this around up here, so we can say like, okay, well, instead of user agent Thunder Client, we can just, pass in some secret message. So, secret message. And when we send that, we get user agent is secret message. Perfect. Okay. Let's continue on. This is great for getting a single header out of here. Now, what if we want to get two headers? Well, we can do that. We just add in another typed header. We can do as many of these as we want, as long as we don't, I think it's like 30 or so things that we can put in here. And it has to be before something that consumes the body, but it can be in any order that we want. So if I want maybe, let's see, what's another header? Well, actually, what's another header we can put in here? We have accept, that's been passed in. So let's throw in accept here as a second one. And that will be another typed header. We have accept. That's going to be a typed header. I want accept. it might not remember what those are. I want, these are headers user agent. So I'm just going to go directly to Axum, headers. There's accept. Oh, we might have to do this as a custom header because Axum doesn't know about this one, which is perfect. I want to pivot to custom headers anyways. So perfect for this. Let's go and create another file for the custom headers, which also sort of like will work well with multiple headers too. So let's create another file here. We're going to call multiple, either like common, let's just do multiple headers. Insert mod. Okay, so I want a pub async function, multiple headers. You can do the same thing here. So multiple headers. Okay, perfect. So we've added in multiple headers. We should be able to call this route now. If I want to extract out multiple headers at the same time, as I sort of alluded to, we could just put several different of those typed headers into the signature of this route handler, but that's going to get a little bit messy. What if we want like more than two? It's just a sort of like a lot. What I like to do is use the header map. So a header map gives you, well, essentially the equivalent of a hash map. Think of it as they've wrapped around a map, like an interface around the hash map, but essentially it's the same thing. So we're going to get all of headers, and this is going to be a header map. I don't need to give it any special types because it knows exactly what this is. So this headers is now a header map. Now, if I want to extract out a typed header for this, for example, that user agent again, we can do that with the headers with, so normally there's a get method, which you can use to just sort of get something. But here they have a typed get. So if we do a typed get, we can use the turbofish syntax to then get a specific type. So in this case, we want the user agent. Now it does give us an option here, because what if it doesn't actually exist in the header map? So it could be a none, for example. So let's go ahead and we'll do a tracing info user agent is user agent. With this one, we have to do a debug printout because an option doesn't implement display. All right. We can also use this headers map to get out custom headers. So ones that don't necessarily have a typed header with it. So let's get out that accept. So we see here in our request, we see this accept here. Let's see if we can pull that out with the get method. So we're going to do accept equals, we're going to do headers, just a plain get, and we can put in anything that implements something that sort of grabs it. So just a normal string works perfectly well for us. So we're going to do accept. This gives us an option with a header value. So notice that this one gives us the typed, the user agent. This one is just sort of like an unknown header value. What could it possibly be? Well, generally speaking, it's coming in from the wire, so it's probably going to be a string of some kind. It could be a number. And I think that's pretty much it. It could be like stringified JSON or something. But in this case, it's going to be something. We don't know what it is. Header value sort of like contains it. Let's go tracing info this. This is accept, and we'll debug, print that out. All right, so we're good to go there. Let's go ahead and we'll hit our request again, except this time, wait, I want this request. So this one is multiple headers. And all right, so we have we still have the secret message for our user agent. That's great. But our accept here is some star star. Okay, that's great. So we're able to, if there's a header that's sort of not represented in the standard headers that we can just easily get, we can just grab them out with a string. Now, the documentation for Axum does recommend that we use typed headers whenever possible. And that's, well, I mean, type systems are nice, right? Like it's good to have, what if we're needing that header multiple times? And if we're hard coding that in with the like accept, or let's say we add in like another, like a hello as like a, hello from Thunder Client. Well, if I misspell hello in like the 4 or 5 different places that I'm extracting this header, that's not going to be great. So if I want to define this in one place, we want to create a typed header for this. Well, to do that, all we have to do is implement the header trait, and then we can use it just like any other typed header. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to, outside of routes, at the same level as source, I'm going to create a folder for this. Now we're only going to have one typed header here, but I like this pattern because it allows you to expand and just continuously add more and more headers as we go along. So just gonna add headers, and inside of here, we're gonna add in a mod. Let's go ahead and mod that in the library, and then also inside of headers, let's add in, so it's going to be a hello is the name of our header, right? So hello.rs. And we are going to pub mod hello. All right, so what do we want to do here? We want to create some kind of thing that can implement the header trait. Well, that means it has to be some like concrete type, so like an enum or an struct, which is where I'm going with this. So we're gonna do a pub struct hello. We could call it hello header or just hello. I noticed that user agent was just user agent, so I'm gonna keep with that pattern and just name it what it is. And I'm gonna make this a tuple type. So we know that the hello is going to be some kind of message, like a string. So I'm going to make that a string. And all we have to do, so I do plan on debug, like doing the tracing log out for this. So I'm just going to implement derive debug for this too. All right, let's import header for hello and implement missing members. Now this is where it can feel a little bit complex. So let's see if we can make that complexity be a little bit less complex here. We have name, decode, and encode. So we need to do all of these on header to have it work. Well, name is pretty simple. This is the header name of it. So this is gonna be whatever it needs to use to be able to go in and out of the header map. However, notice that it's a reference to a static header name. So I can't really just create the header name in here because, well, as soon as it finishes running the name function to get the header name, it is going to drop and it's going to be gone. And so even if I create it as a static in here, well, it's going to go out of scope really quickly. So I'm going to create the static up here. So we're going to do a static. I'm just going to call this header name. We know that this has to be this Axum HTTP header name. So I'm just going to copy that type and we're going to use it up here. And we can do, okay, so we want header name. We want to do, we can do string from, I think there's a from, there, from string. There's from bytes, there's from, maybe we could do from, oh, we could do from static. Well, we can just do that from a static str. So in this case, we know that this is hello is the key of this header. Okay, so that gives us a static header name that we can now use anywhere. And we just need, well, it already needs to be static, so perfect. We just need to return a reference to header name. Perfect. We're good to go with the name here. Decode. So this is when we want to extract the headers out of the header map and then get its values so we could just do whatever we want with it. Notice here that we're getting values, which is, if we take a look at this I, is an iterator where each item is a header value. Well, we've already seen that the header value can just contain whatever the data is. So this is perfect. So we happen to know that there's only ever going to be one header with the key hello. That being said, it is technically possible to have multiple headers with the same key. I know it like feels weird because everywhere else in programming you can't do that, but in headers you can. So we want to first get our value out of it. We're basically just assuming with our API, if you're sending a message with hello, there's one of them and we're going to ignore all the other ones. So to get the first one, we're going to say our message, I guess it's just going to be like whatever, like the single value. So let's just get the value equals values on an iterator to just manually get the next one or whatever the next one is, we call next. So that way we don't have to do like a loop through it or like loop one time. We just grab the thing. Now it does give us an option here. So if it can't find one, we probably want to have some kind of error. Well, we can do that. We can handle this. So if you're an okay or else, so we need to return this error here. So I'm going to use an error. So it needs to be an Axum headers error. And there is this invalid function that we can do, which then creates an error for us. So perfect. So basically, if we try to get this error and it doesn't exist, well, it's going to, well, throw an error. Fine, perfect. All right, so I can question mark you, and now we have a reference to a header value. Great. I still need to turn this value into this struct because we need to return a self on it. So what can we do? So we can do, there's as bytes on it. I believe there's a toStr on that. That might work for us. I think it will work exactly. So this will give us a, if I remember correctly, let's do like let message equals. This gives us a result. So again, we need to handle this error because this returns an Axum headers error, but this is a toStr error. So we're going to need to map the error. And I don't really care what this error is. I could probably print it out, but I'm just going to ignore it. And we're just going to do the exact same thing where we error invalid that question mark u. And now we have our stir. And finally, I want to return self. So it's going to be an okay self. It's a tuple type. The message is going to go in here. It needs to be a string, and we have a stir. So I'm going to run toOwned on it. Okay, that is decode. This is now grabbing it out of header map, turning it into the typed, a thing, in this case a string, and then handing it back to us. Encode is the opposite way. This is when we want to set a header on the resulting, response to the, client, in this case, Thunder client. And yes, absolutely, we can have headers coming back out. They can be very useful. So what are we going to do here? So we notice we have values E. And then this values, we notice it has to implement this extend. This gives us a hint of how we need to use this. We need to run extend on values. So you can think of this as the values being a header map itself that we could then use to just sort of like add something in. So if we say let's sort of play with this, right? So values.extend. You take in an iterator. So we can maybe create an iterator. So we can do standard iter. We can do a empty once. I want to basically create a single iterator that we then put essentially this thing into, which again is, I believe, because what if there's what if we wanted to send like multiple values out for the same key? And this is, I believe, how we can do this. But we only want one thing. So iterator, can I do new? Is there a default? No, I think it's a iterator. What is it? From function. I don't think I want from function. We could do empty once. Once with a T, so it's a type. Okay, for the value. Can I do pass itself? Oh, probably want to pass itself. So we want this string in there, right? So that's going to be a self.0. And let's just sort of save this and see if it yells at us. It does. Type mismatch, resolving want string as iterator into item header value, expected header value found string. Okay, so I need to turn this into a header value. So we need a header value. Okay, so from name, from static, there's from stir. So we could do from stir. That would potentially work. Let's do from stir for this. So from stir, we have self.0, and then we could just do this as a stir. And that gives exactly what we want. Now you're still upset at us. Type mismatch resolving once result header value invalid header value as that expect struct found enum result. Oh, so there's a lot here, isn't it? Let's sort of see if we can grab out. So I believe from string is returning a result. Yeah, look at that. It's returning a result here. Now you don't return anything at all, which means I need to unwrap it. So for this one right here, we need to unwrap. Because we can't really do anything on it. So we're gonna have to just handle it. Now I could, instead of crashing, I could just say like, okay, and that converts it to an option and then just sort of ignores it. But that still returns an option, doesn't it? Yeah, that's not really helpful either. Let's see, what else can I do? I can, I don't really know what else I would want to do with it, because like it's Rust. We are forced to sort of deal with it in some way. So let's go ahead and we'll just unwrap this. It might be a good idea to expect this with a message, so that way I know like what's going on with this. Let's do that. So we'll expect this. So that way, if we're programming this and we're trying to use this header and it's just like not working correctly, we're getting some kind of error, we can like know at least something human readable is in here, just in case. So in this case, it's going to be error sending, so like encoding header. So error encoding header. So I should be able to now search through my source code for this error, just in case this happens. All right. We're good to go here. This entire file is happy. So let's head back to, let's see what I want to do. We have multiple headers. Let's do multiple headers here. Now we have this typed get. I should be able to let, what is it? Like the hello equals headers typed get. I want the hello header, and that gives us an option hello. And so let's tracing info this, and we'll say we want hello there, and then we'll just do also hello is, and there we go. Okay, so let's hit this again. Bring up our terminal. We have multiple headers. Do we have hello is set from Thunder Client? If I send this, there we go. Some hello from Thunder Client. So that allows us to now receive multiple headers, including our custom typed header in there, which is really nice. So it's a little bit of a pain to set up, but once we've got it set up, it's actually really easy to use. Let's switch around to the other side. We can actually see somewhere in the responses in Thunder Client. I might have to make this a little bit smaller. Somewhere in here, we should be able to see the response headers. Response headers, there we go. So by default, this is what we're getting coming back. We're not sending anything with it, so content length is auto-generated by Axum and sent. It's a value of 0. We also get the date, and that's pretty much it. So what if I wanted to send that hello back? What if I want to just send something else back? Well, we can do that. Let's go ahead and create a another file here. So this is going to be a response headers. So response headers. We're going to mod u and response headers. We're going to have a pub async function response headers. And let's, before we forget, we'll add un. Okay, response headers is wired up. We can now use this. So let's not take in anything at all. We can just hit it plain and nothing will be passed into it. But we want to return something. Well, by default, we can just return anything we want. We can return a typed header. So we can return a typed header with whatever it is. Let's do that hello because we know how to set that. So in this case, we're going to set our hello equals to be a hello, and you are a hi from Axum. We could also do this from like a user agent or anything else if we want. Why are you upset at me? You're upset because expected a string. And you're probably also upset, mismatched types. I'm not returning anything. So we want to do a typed header. Actually, can I just return hello? Maybe. Cannot initialize a tuple struct, which contains a private field. Let's head over to hello here, and we're going to make you public. And right, you need to be, so you're going to be a typed header hello. That's how we do it. Now if I hit this, let's go find our request. I am not going to send hello, so it's obvious coming back that it's this different thing. Although hello from Thunder Client, I think it's hello from Axum coming back. If I hit send, now we can see, multiple headers. What is this called? This is response headers. And there is our hello and hi from Axum. So this allows us to now send some, custom information. Now, if we set like JSON as a return type, the Axum will automatically set some headers for us. Like, for example, it will set the content type to application JSON, which is great. Sometimes we want to take control and do some manual header setting, like this, for example. If we don't want to create a custom header and we want to just use a string, we can do that by returning a tuple of headers sort of an array of tuples, and then it sort of knows that that's going to be the headers. So let's, instead of doing typed header like this, let's show off like how we can create multiple things. So we return a tuple, and now we can just return however many things I want. So we can have this typed header hello as one of them. I can have an array of many different things. So this would be basically a stir. And I wonder if, I can't remember, I think it's a static stir. Static stir. Are you going to be happy? Oh no, it's static stir, static, like tup. Are you unhappy with that? I could just do expected type found. Oh, it doesn't like that as the type for what we're running. The easier way to do it, and the way I've seen in the documentation, which I had pulled up here before we went to typed header. Let's go back to it. Building responses. It actually shows different ways for us to return things, which includes headers. And so, oh, it's this header name, static stir. Okay, I see that. Oh, right, it is an array of tuples. I think I said that and then immediately forgot it. So it's an array of tuples. So we're going to have some kind of header name. So header name, and then I want a static string. I didn't need that reference. Static stir, or maybe I do. There. Okay, static stir, and then this is going to be, I want 2 of these. Okay, there we go. Now you need to be a tuple. We have typed header as this first one, and now the second item down here is going to be an array of tuples. Now, I could do as many of these as I want. In this case, we just have one thing, right? So we're going to have, let's see, what is this? This is like hello world. Actually, 2 of them, right? Oh, yeah, so 2. So this is 2 headers that I'm setting. If I want just one of these, you have to do 1. If I do impl into response, then it's going to just cover that, and I could do as many of these as I want. Header name is actually a specific thing that I could set. Maybe it's not header name. I think this is going to be another static stir. Static stir. That makes you happy now. Now, if I save this, go back to Thunder Client, we hit this again. With our response headers, did I get... I got the hello, hi from Axum. Oh, I don't know if I can set multiple that way. This is showing an array of those custom ones. There is exactly what I want here and what I'm trying to do. I think they use impl into response though. And they have more control down here. So if I can't remember, I think I might have to set headers only one place. They do recommend into, oh, use strings as custom headers. Oh, so they're showing I do have to do impl into response. Okay, fine. We will, let's change this to an impl into response. Now I can respond with whatever I want here. So let's just do an array of tuples, and so we can just do hello. Did I do it twice as hello? Maybe that was the problem I did. Hello, like hello. You're upset because why? Oh, because you're an actual hello and you don't know what to do with that. So I need to make that like hello, hello. And if I hit send, hello becomes hello. I can do multiple headers by just adding more tuples to this. So another header. Nope, that was saved. I want to run that again, and there's another header. If I want any kind of data sending along with this, then you need to be outside of this array here. So another tuple. We can do that up front or behind, I think. It doesn't really matter. And we can just put in like text. So hi there. So if I save you and we refresh you again, we have our data that we sent here. We don't have the hi there here. That is in the response. It should be in the response. There it is. I had to resend it again. So long story short with this, that is how we can send headers back out to the client. Generally speaking, we're mostly going to stick with the common headers there, but sometimes your app is going to want specific custom headers that you're going to send. Generally speaking, we set headers on response a little bit less often than we take them in. But for example, if you want to set cookies, you set them in the headers on the way back out to the client. And if you ever wondered what's going on with like a cookie library or a CORS library, that's exactly what it's doing. It's just setting headers for you. So in case you don't have access to those or can't use those or they're breaking, you can just sort of set the headers yourself and it'll just work. Anyways, thank you so much for this. I hope this lesson has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right. That was a long one. We went like way over time, but I think it was good. So let's see. The real Enrico, hello. The stream is saving the VODs, right? Yes. So I have, we get 2 weeks of the VODs on Twitch, and then I'm also streaming on YouTube, which means all the VODs are going to go onto YouTube too. I do have it on a delay where I'm like every day. I think I missed yesterday. I'm putting out like another VOD. So it basically gets, there's a delay before it goes onto YouTube, but it will be there eventually. So hopefully that helps. Anyways, I need to run to go grab dinner with the family, so I am going to go ahead and shut the stream down. So I'll be back on Monday. I'm not sure what the full plan is next week. I am planning on getting my vaccine now on Wednesday, sort of halfway through the day. Hopefully, I'll be feeling okay and I'll be able to continue streaming as normal. But I'll have a schedule. I'll update the schedule sometime this weekend, like before the first stream on Monday. So you can sort of take a look at the Twitch schedule to sort of get an idea where what things are going to happen. Alpha Bra, hello. How are you doing today? Do I have a recommendation for a source to learn Rust from other than the book? Ooh, I don't like. I mean, there's plenty of like online YouTube videos, streamers, content that have been created. I don't have like a necessary. Okay, you found the book tough and assuming. How much experience do you have with programming in general? All the YouTube videos start with ramming you with syntax without explaining it. Okay, so you have programming experience. So unfortunately, I don't think there's any really great resources besides the book right now in the community. And I think like there is that problem with is like it starts with theory for most of the videos. the book does too. The book does start with theory quite a bit, which does make it a little bit harder to sort of get into and go. So I want to like create a course for like introduction to Rust, but I need my LMS to be at a point where I can get some I need some like more features before I'm willing to do that. It's going to be that would be a pretty hefty course. So I don't know. I'm having like a trouble to find something that, like, if the book is tough and assuming, I don't know of anything else, because like most everything else is going to start with like, go with the book first and then come here. Maybe some conference talks, but like even then, most of the conference talks are 2 hours long at most, and will like get you going to like a hello world, but not really much else. I do have an old... Okay, you did try Program As. It was quite good. Okay, so... Okay, so you learned types, arrays, loops so thus far. Okay, so you're getting through that kind of stuff. I do have an old playlist of me going through the book, but that was a while ago. It was right after 1.0 of Rust came out. It's like a lot has changed in the language, but the basics are still the same. And I went through the entire book. So we read through the entire thing, and then I went through exercises and did that. So if sort of like my style, like watching somebody learn it is good, you could try going through my, like, those videos. Is Let's Get Rusty, I think, also has been going through the book. That might be a good one to check out too. I don't know. That's all I can think of right now. And then you can join various communities. So I have a community on Discord that you can feel like free to ask any questions in. So that's at Discord. So as you're learning along, if you have any questions about like where to go look up some stuff, or like what, how to actually do a loop, or what is that iterator thing anyways, we can do our best to explain it. Or I can like queue it up for like one of my streams. I can just try to go into it and sort of explain it a little bit more. So we could also do that, where it's like, I'm always happy to try to explain things if I have time. I don't have it tonight, so unfortunately we'll have to wait that. We'll have to save that for another time. Anyways, I'm getting hungry. I need to go get food. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will be back next week, most likely every day, but keep an eye on the schedule, and I'll post that and then mention that on X, Twitter, and just Discord as soon as I have it up. So with that, have a great weekend, have a great night, day, evening, whatever it is for you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.